Okay, good morning, Year 5 and 6. Good to be back with you. So, throughout the start of this week and last week as well, Mr. Shaw and Miss Wilson have been going through with you some of the key knowledge that we need to be able to answer our learning question. Now, today's lesson, I'm going to introduce an activity that might then take you the 2 days. So it might take you today and tomorrow. We're going to continue to add to it. So tomorrow there will be some additional information, some extra things for you to do, but it's going to be a bit of an ongoing task that we set up today that will last potentially over the weekend as well. You could come back to it and add it into those things. So today we're going to really focus in on looking at our local area, your local area, okay, and thinking about our learning question, why that's important. So, before we start, Mr. Shaw yesterday asked you to explain why it might have been difficult to identify what class dolphins belong to. Now, dolphins, a strange one really. So, maybe thinking to start with that they're a fish. However, when you really start to unpick some of their key features, you can see actually that a dolphin is classified as a mammal. Now that picture there is taken from the video that you were asked to watch yesterday. If you've not seen that video, okay, this one here, I would suggest that you go and watch it. Okay, some really good information in there and some information you're going to need to be able to complete the next couple of tasks and also to write your final outcome next week. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. So let's go back and think about our learning question. So can I explain how organisms in my local area are classified based on their characteristics? Now, I think that actually this part, the classification part, I think actually we've got a really good knowledge of that now. We've looked at an awful lot of information around why animals are classified, okay, who invented some of the one of the most common classification methods, and why that is important for scientists to be able to do that, so they all had a standard format that they could classify these animals with. We've also looked at the different stages we go through, so looking all the way from the kingdom right down to the species at the bottom, and gained an understanding around that. We've then looked in a bit more detail at the vertebrates and invertebrates, and we've broken those down into some smaller groups within those. Okay, so looking at mammals, fish, birds, reptiles, amphibians within vertebrates. And where we need to start thinking now is actually this part here, local area. Okay, so what we're going to be doing over the next couple of days is actually having a really good look at our local area. What's around here, what might we be able to see, and then as your final outcome next week, you're going to be producing an information booklet or a non-chronological report on classification, and then giving examples within that of different species that we might find in our local area that fall into each of those categories. So actually bringing it right down now to thinking about what is right outside of our doorstep, and we're going to look at that in a bit more detail today. So, habitats in my local area. What I'd like to do is just jot down a few of the habitats that you can think of in our local area. So around the school, around your house, okay, within that local area, what is it that you, or how do you know what's around you? Now, if you're unsure, we are going to come out of the PowerPoint for a second and have a look at Google Earth. Now, if you've never been on Google Earth before, it's an app you can download or you can access it on the internet, and it gives you a really clear look at what is around you. So if we come out of here and into Google Earth, now although you might feel that we live in a huge city built up area, actually this is Exeter here, okay, but as soon as we come outside of there, huge areas of farmland, and of natural habitats, okay? And even within Exeter, Exeter is actually a very green city. Lots of different habitats and areas within Exeter. Now if we zoom in a bit further, so we can see here we've got the River Exe here flowing down through, and then further down this way branches into the canal as well. And this is sort of your local area of Exeter, okay, Exwick and St Thomas sort of area here, and still lots of farmland and woodland areas behind you there. So let's go in closer to the school. So the school here is right there, so Redhills Primary School, and you can see actually lots very close to the school, lots of different habitats that will have different species living within them. So the river is a huge habitat. Even this area here, okay, this is the cemetery, very different to these areas of housing, okay, and because of that you're going to be finding different species within that. And I also know that a lot of you, if we zoom back out from some of the pictures that we've been having sent in, lots of you have been walking, taking your daily exercise up around in this sort of area into the woodland and farmland that is around here. So again, very, very different species going to be in those different areas. So if you've not had a chance to go on Google Earth before, have a little look on there and think about what sort of species you might be able to find in those different areas. I'd like you to try and mind map some of those. Okay, get some of those down on your paper. So we might put one on that one of the habitats might be the River Exe. Okay, there might also be the canal. Okay, there might be, you might be able to think of some woodland. Okay, you might know the name of some local woodland. But we could even think about things like your garden. Okay, if you've got a garden, what's in your garden? Okay, or a family member you've got a garden. Think about the school grounds. Okay, and then within the school grounds, we've got school pond. Okay, so you might have different things coming off of all of those as well. So we create some areas coming off of that. Okay, it might be the same within the River Exe. Okay, you might be able to think of some different habitats within that river. So what I'd like you to do, the first thing is just to get down some of the different habitats that you know that are around you locally. Okay, and if you're out for your daily exercise today, you see some of those things, send some pictures in. It'd be great to see what you've got around, and maybe some pictures of your garden, if you've got a garden, or the local, maybe go for a walk down by the river or up into the woodland behind you. So then the main activity that I want us to start thinking of are actually within those different environments. There are going to be lots of different species that fall into these different groups, the different classification groups that we can use. So I'd like you to set up, probably, okay, you're going to need a page of A4 for the invertebrates and a page of A4 for the vertebrates. Now, I want you to really think about your presentation. Set this out neatly, give yourself enough space. We're going to be adding to this, okay, throughout the next couple of days over the weekend, so we can build a picture of some of the things that you can see. If you go out for a walk today as part of your daily exercise, what can you see? If you can get into your garden, or you've got a garden, go in, have a look around. Can you find any animals that fit into each of these categories? It would be great if you've got the ability to take a picture, send some of those pictures in. That would be brilliant. So a reminder, okay, of the features of those, and if you need to pause on these parts and just really recap them, you can. So there's the vertebrates, and there are the invertebrates. Okay, I've only taken the 5 that you're going to most commonly be able to see around you, okay, within Exeter. So the ones that were linked to the ocean, I've taken out. There's not an ocean in Exeter, so we're not going to need that one. However, I've left crustaceans in, and there's at least one example of crustacean that you can find within Exeter. Just have a think about the River Exe when you're thinking about that one. Now, what I want you to think about is, if you go for a walk today, or if you can get into your garden, you can see out of your window, start to make a note of all of the things that you're seeing and make sure you're classifying those, putting them into the right categories here. Tomorrow, okay, we're going to come back to this, and I'm going to show you some websites that you can use, that even if you can't see those animals yourself, you start to understand what might be around, okay? And actually, although we live in a city, there's a huge amount of wildlife within the city of Exeter. Okay, so look forward to seeing your work on Class Dojo later, and also any pictures that you might have would be great to put into Class Dojo of some of the things that you're seeing out and about in the local area. So thank you very much, and I will speak to you tomorrow.